We're 2 days away from a soft deadline between the 49ers and Trent Williams. What's up? Welcome to your favorite show of the week, LaCohn and LaRocca. That's Tyler LaRocca. I'm Grant Cohn. We have so much to talk about today, so many positive things to discuss because, as everyone knows about us, we often try to see things with the glass half full lens.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
if the Niners did it, we're going to try to find a way to like it because that's what being, faithful
Unbiased
is all about. We're faithful.
Mhm.
We have faith. So let's start with Trent Williams. They haven't done anything there. He wants an extension or something. They haven't done anything, taking their time. But on March 20th, that's Friday, the Niners have to cut him a $10 million check. It's his option bonus. It's in his contract. You can check it out. This is public record. Go to spottrack.com. So theoretically, if they do nothing, they could give him this check and he could still be upset and he could still hold out the entire offseason and maybe even part of the season and get $10 million and probably get the rest of his money too. Yeah. Or they could give him the extension he wants. What do you think is going to happen on Friday?
I feel like we're not hearing anything, so I kind of feel like the Niners are going to let this one roll into camp. Like, that's kind of the vibe they're giving, is they have no interest in letting Trent go. I know people are saying, like, oh, there are trade rumors. It seems like the Niners have zero interest in trading him. So they're basically like, you can either retire or play. So those are your options. And I feel like they're just going to keep that going and then eventually give him the extension. As the glass half full would be, we get to keep Trent longer.
It does kind of seem like they're taking a hard line with Trent like they did with Brandon Aiyuk. Yeah. Like, hey, man, don't really care what you want. This is the deal. You're going to play on this last year of this contract. You're going to show up to work. Yeah. And you're going to earn we're paying you a lot of money, man. We gave you this contract. You're 38 years old. I think if John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were still running the show, he'd get whatever he wanted.
For sure.
My theory for 2 years is it's been Parag and the Yorks now. And I think that they want him for one more year, but they don't want him for 3 more years.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I mean, all of their signings, which we'll get to in a bit, all of their signings have been 1 years. So they seem like they have zero interest in keeping older players past this year, which I cannot be upset about. I don't blame them for that.
I find it interesting, though, that, I mean, they traded for Osa Odighizuwa, which seems like it's more than a 1-year deal. I'll have to look at that. That seemed like more of a commitment, but you're right. All the other signings were just 1-year deals. And Trent Williams is signed for 1 more year. John Lynch is under contract for 1 more year. They could get out of Brock Purdy's contract after 1 more year.
They can get out of Christian like the organization, and George's too.
Yes. It seems like the organization has sort of positioned 2026 as a make or break year. Like, look, you did well in 2025. You exceeded expectations. Let's see you build on that. Let's see you do better.
Yeah.
Because if you take a step back in year 10, it might be time to make sweeping. When I say sweeping change, it might be time for a hard reset. It seems like the Niners have positioned themselves for a potential hard reset, and extending Trent Williams would sort of go against that.
Yeah. And that's what I kind of agree with is I think next year's 49ers team, whether they win a Super Bowl, don't make playoffs, whatever, is going to look very different. I think the only returning people will most likely be like Kyle and Brock and maybe Nick.
Yeah. I mean, Christian Kirk won't be back next year.
Mike Evans will be back.
There might be no Christians on this team in 2027, which is kind of hard to think about.
Yeah. Or Trents.
Yeah. There could be no Trents. There could be no Jakes.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think they're going to end up signing him and giving in, or do you think they're going to just kind of hardline this and be like, you can either play or retire, basically?
I tend to think that you're right, that they're going to hardline this and they're going to say, you have a contract. You signed a contract. We're paying you a lot of money. If you want an extension, we'll talk about that next year. Let's see how you play when you're 38 before we talk about 39.
Yeah.
And if he gets upset, I mean, look what they're doing to Brandon Aiyuk right now. Trent's always been very smart, and he's never been in the situation before. But if he gets upset with the 49ers and they call his bluff and he's holding out and it goes into week 1 and week 2, I'd be interested to see, like, what happens. Because Brandon Aiyuk's not a future Hall of Famer. Trent is.
Yeah, Trent's like one of the best ever at his position, which is crazy. But I think also I think part of them being over it with Trent is I feel like we've dealt with this every year the past few years. Trent wants an extension with more guaranteed money, and then it's like, okay, well, we got to extend Trent again and give him more guarantees. Like every year, he's like, well, I want to go back to being one of the highest paid. Well, I want to go back to being one of the highest paid. And I feel like this year they're like, dude, we got Evans here for like nothing. We got Kirk here for like nothing. We got Dre here for like nothing. Do you not see the theme? Can you not see what's going on here? We're
Yeah.
bring people back for nothing for a year.
We're trying to get good bargains here, good values. We really didn't enjoy the Brandon Aiyuk experience, and we don't know how we feel about the Brock Purdy experience yet. And
the George Kittle experience just bit us in the ass too. So
the Fred Warner experience is biting us in the ass. Like all of those extensions they handed out last year, with the exception of Colton McKivitz, bit them in the ass.
Isn't that crazy?
And I bet the Yorks are like, hey, maybe there's a different way to go about building these teams.
Isn't that crazy that Colton McKivitz was the best extension they did last year?
Isn't that funny? Colton McKivitz, man. Talk about getting the last laugh.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like the Niners just have no interest in trading for Trent. I also think like maybe they fielded calls and his market just isn't that high. Because I feel like if they got offered a first or a second rounder, they'd have done it. Right.
I just want to say, though, I feel like, again, this is where I get into the double standard on this team. You know, there's certain players that the Niners treat like family, and there's certain players they don't.
Yeah.
You know, when George Kittle got to the last year of his contract and he wanted an extension, it was like, George, like, don't get upset, man. We're gonna work it out with you, and we're gonna do it. Remember, they got all those extensions done early last year, and they were so proud of it.
Yeah,
they were like,
they did.
We did it. We got George done before OTA. They got all of their extensions done before OTAs. The only one that dragged on was McKivitz.
Oh, yeah.
Was McKivitz. And they gave it to him, and he wasn't, complaining, as opposed to Juwan Jennings, who did complain and didn't get his extension and sat out training camp. He was hurt, though. It was his calf. Remember, it was just his calf.
Yeah, it was just his calf.
It was just his
calf. And then
calf.
he came back.
And then he came back.
Like Trent, it's just, I also feel like the biggest thing between Trent, Fred, and George is like, well, Trent, you just had a bad year and you're literally pushing 40. It's not like you're pushing 30, you're pushing 40. Like you're really old in football terms at this point. And I highly doubt you're going to see a massive amount of improvement from last year. He's just getting old. So,
but look, I wouldn't pay him. I would trade him. The Niners always choose option C. Don't pay, don't trade.
Yeah. Force
the guy to stay here.
Yeah.
Control the narrative with the media PR spin. And make it work. And I just feel like, they succeeded with Brandon Aiyuk in a sense, because everyone's on their side and thinks he's crazy. But with Trent, it's going to be much tougher to pull that one off, dude. I mean, people really, really respect Trent, and
he was
very
such a
in
leader
control of his spoken word.
Yeah, he's such a leader for them last year. And yeah, like we said, you got 2 days to pay him or trade him or battle him, I guess. But that's the thing is like Trent holding out a training camp, like he came, I guess, last year. But is that really new? Like Trent's always not in training camp, Trent usually does not participate.
He's not really in shape until like week 4, and then he's hurt for like week 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where he's just kind of like, he's just Trent, He's just Trent. So I expect him to be on the team.
Friday's going to come and go. He's going to get his option bonus, but he's not going to get his extension. And the Niners' attitude is, we gave you money. What are you upset about?
I agree. I think their attitude is,
wasn't that their attitude with Aiyuk too? We paid you. What are you mad? What are you mad about? You should like us now. We gave you money.
I think
doesn't that fix everything?
Yeah. I think that's been their attitude the last like year or so. Is just like, we're doing what we want to do.
Money.
Yeah, we gave you the money. You can either be happy and play or be unhappy and play. That's on you. And we've already showed you, Trent, we have no issue going after your money. So if you want to play this game, you saw how that played for BA. So good luck. Maybe that's what they're becoming. Maybe they're becoming like the bad guys.
I mean, isn't that sort of what they're doing with Aiyuk? I mean, let's talk about that for a second. Like, aren't they making an example of Brandon Aiyuk? Isn't that what the point of holding on to him is? It's like Aiyuk tried to thumbed his nose at the organization. He never bended the knee. He never really played by their rules or was nice. I mean, he was probably really, really rude and unprofessional, I would imagine. And he thought he could get away with it because he's that good. Then he got hurt. Then he walked away from the team. Didn't want to play for them anymore. Doesn't like them anymore.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're trying to make it seem like you can't just walk away from us. You can't sign a contract and then decide you don't like us and walk away. We're going to take the money back and we're going to hold on to you and we're going to do whatever we can to hurt you because you tried to make us look weak and and you try to make us vulnerable to this type of behavior in the future. Like other players are going to try this stuff if we don't put an end to this. So we're making an example out of Brandon. Is anyone else that we paid not like us anymore and want to walk away from the team? Let us know right now and you'll know what's going to happen to you. So I mean, not that Trent's vulnerable like that, but it's playing out right in front of his eyes.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where it's just like, I will say, I after what George said, it seems like the Niners just, again, I feel like we all could see it. They regretted signing him the day they signed him. Like they seem to very much regret that signing the day it was signed.
And it was reported, right? I mean, John Lynch even came out and was like, we were going to trade him, but Kyle Shanahan ran up and stopped us. Like that was on the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's the issue with Aiyuk because as George said, he was rehabbing in the building with the Niners in their facilities till November. And then the story came out that they wanted to get rid of him. And he's like, okay, well, you guys quit on me. So see ya. Like, so, I mean, it seems like that, like my thing with the Aiyuk situation is it seemed obvious. Kyle wanted him. The organization didn't. He wasn't playing well, which put more pressure on Kyle. Then he got hurt. And the organization was like, see, this is why we didn't want to pay him. Then they tried offloading him and they couldn't. So they found a loophole to where they could just dump him.
And they won't dump him yet.
And they won't dump him yet because they're still butthurt because
of the butthurt factor. Here's the thing. I'm not saying that Brandon Aiyuk is like a martyr or a victim. I'm sure there's stuff he did.
Oh, for sure.
That we don't know about that was like, if we heard, we'd be like, whoa. I'm sure.
I'm sure.
I bet like he's been doing stuff like that since forever, man. You got to remember, this guy, he was just never a good fit for the 49ers culture. The Niners have a specific culture. It's that frat boy, rah, hazy type of respect your elders.
Republican.
Like sing Morgan Wallen, chug Bud Light. You know what I mean? Like play, you know what I mean? Like stupid, like that kind of stuff. And some people love that stuff. And you got to really like kiss Kyle's ass.
Yeah.
Whether you believe it or not. Like all the players who stick around and get paid a lot of money talk about Kyle like he's the greatest coach of all time. Brandon never did any of that. He doesn't know Morgan Wallen songs. He doesn't drink Bud Light. He's not a big Kyle Shanahan guy. And so it's like he didn't go to, Alabama and work his way up as a freshman and go through all the frat hazy type of stuff. He went to Sierra College. He went to junior college. He was the fucking man. And he didn't have to kiss anyone's ass. And he went to Arizona State. He didn't have to kiss anyone's ass. He was a first round pick and he played right away. Didn't have to kiss anyone's ass. And then year 2, they started with the funny stuff and he was in the doghouse and it was just never gonna work. And it wouldn't. If the Niners trade for AJ Brown, it wouldn't work.
No,
it wouldn't. AJ Brown probably isn't a Morgan Wallen guy. Wouldn't probably kiss Kyle's ass. It just wouldn't work. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Morgan Wallen guy either, though.
They need those. They need the Mike Evans type guys, the Debo guys that can play nice and they can,
Kyle's a genius.
Brandon is not good at
George Kill's my best friend.
Yeah, Brandon's not good at hiding how he actually feels. The others,
which is one of the more endearing things about him. I'm just saying.
Yes, yeah, I agree. And like I said, I don't think Brandon is 100% innocent. I'm sure there were
not at all.
I'm sure there are things, but to think the Niners treated him well or did right by him at all is insane to me.
Remember those stories when they said that because he's so introverted and shy.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, man, like, if you really want to get the ball, Debo told him, like, you need to go and talk to him. You need to go to Kyle's office and talk to him because Debo would do that every day, right?
Yeah.
Because he liked him so much. So remember they say that Aiyuk would just go into the office and stand there and not talk? It's like, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm standing here.
So can I have a
playing
ball?
the game.
Yeah. And like that's the thing where it's like George was saying, like he would go in there, just check on him, make sure he's like, there for, because George is awesome. But it's like, and that's why I thought it was funny, because everyone's like, oh, he's a bad teammate. He's a bad teammate. And George's like, oh no, he checked on me after the injury. He like texted me saying he's thinking about me and like hopes I do well and stuff like that. And it's like, Brandon seems like it. He seemed like he can read the room. And when they regretted him being signed, he was just feeding off that energy. Like, okay, you guys obviously don't want me here.
I think what's so interesting about this relationship is that it was rocky at first. They seemed like they worked it out. He was working hard. He was bought into the culture. He was blocking. He was promoting Brock Purdy. They had a great connection.
Yeah.
Like he saved Brock's ass in the NFC Championship game and caught that pass that hit the dude in the face. He caught that pass. They don't win the NFC Championship game without Brandon Aiyuk. They were doing well. The relationship was good. And then they go to the Super Bowl and Christian has a bad game. Kittle has a bad game.
Debo
has a bad game. And Aiyuk, Jennings has a very good game.
Yeah.
Aiyuk doesn't really, he kind of gets phased out and they lose. And I don't think he ever recovered. And I think one of the things that, again, I seem like such an apologist for Brandon Aiyuk. One of the things that I like most about him is how hard he took that loss. You're supposed to take a Super Bowl loss like that hard. And I feel like the Niners, a lot of them, just like the first time when they partied with Lil Wayne after they lost, they're like, you know what?
We'll be fine. We'll be back.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. And he was the only one that's like, it's not okay. And I appreciated that.
I did
and it
too.
Doesn't excuse whatever he has done behind the scenes that I don't know. It doesn't excuse unprofessional behavior, but I do understand his emotions. And it's not whatever he's done in the past doesn't change the fact that he's going to play for the Washington Commanders this year. And there's nothing the Niners can do. They can just delay it.
So I think this was another thing. So I think negotiations were like, in my opinion, the straw that broke the camel's back. So I think the big thing was the Super Bowl. I think the next big thing was them getting rid of Debo, was them alienating and pushing out Debo, because that was Aiyuk's guy. Like that was who he was always hanging out with. Like that was his best friend on the team.
Well, I think you're getting the timeline a little mixed up because the negotiation was first.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. So I think, no, but what I'm saying is I think when they got rid of Debo and then after the Super Bowl, the bad blood from the negotiations kind of like came back to the surface where he's like,
I kind of got the feeling that like Debo and Aiyuk were friends when they were younger, but as they got older and like business kind of came to the forefront, that they weren't necessarily friends anymore, because it was clear that the team was only going to keep one of them and they decided to keep Aiyuk, and Debo changed his number to number 1 to show that he's really the number 1 receiver. And he came back to be a leader. I think it got weird between them at the end. I know that they were kicking it when they were younger. I don't know if they still are friends.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like I hope Aiyuk balls out, honestly.
I kind of got the feeling that Aiyuk had no friends on the team. Does that make him a bad guy?
That same feeling. I
thought he was friends with Trey Lance.
He was.
I think he felt kind of like the whole team. Maybe he's paranoid.
Well, even when he had that,
like the whole team turned their back on him.
I like even when Trey Lance had that good game in preseason, like Aiyuk was posting about it.
He was so hyped about it.
Let's go, brother! Like, love that. He's like, I think Aiyuk was just kind of like, okay, well, everything Debo likes, you guys are cool with.
Yep.
And like George likes, you guys are cool with. But I want Trey Lance to play and he doesn't play. Like, I want this to happen and we can't have it happen. Like, I want my money and you guys are like raking me over the coals.
Isn't it clear that the whole time he was here, he was like, look, man, I'm just as good as George. I'm just as good as Debo. I'm just as good as anyone on the team, and you know it. Why don't you treat me like them?
Yeah.
And it's I agree. Well, it's because you're kind of immature, or you're like, I don't know. It's like, if you don't like his personality, if you want everyone on the team to be able to sing at least one Morgan Wallen song, then just say that and trade him.
Yeah.
You're not, we don't want you in our country club. Sorry. You just don't.
And we talked about this.
We don't like talking with you, bro. You're not a bro.
We were talking about this during negotiations. Is Aiyuk just wanted someone to kiss his ass, which is what a lot of diva receivers want. AJ Brown wants that. Like Justin Jefferson wants that. Jamar Chase wants that. And when Brandon Aiyuk was in like contract negotiations, he was considered up there with those guys. Yeah, and because he was considered one of them. Yeah, he was one of the best blockers. He was one of the best route runners in the league. Like, and so he was like, why aren't you guys treating me like these guys are getting treated? Why aren't you guys treating me like 2021 Debo? Because we're all over him.
Yeah.
I'm better than
And that's the question. Why did he not get treated the way? Because he's not charming and extroverted.
Yeah.
He's kind of awkward and which is fine. But that's why. And I think it allowed people to sort of be like, I don't know, man. Are you standoffish? Are you not?
Yeah.
Are you not really one of the guys? Do you?
And he tried being one of the guys with, being all over Purdy. And then what happened when he got hurt? Purdy was working out with Cowing and Pearsall, not checking on him. He tried.
It does feel like Aiyuk worked very hard to get Brock Purdy paid and was one of the main reasons Brock Purdy got paid. And then when all this came around, Brock was like, yeah, I trust whatever the organization wants to do. Not like I need Brandon. At no point did he ever say. And I want to say something. Let's talk about this. What George Kittle talked about, and we don't have to keep talking about Aiyuk, but I want to start with what he said about Aiyuk. I thought it was interesting that he said the new detail was that Aiyuk was there. He was in meetings, but then he wasn't, and then he stopped going to meetings altogether. God knows what was happening in those meetings with him in there as a disgruntled member of the team.
Yeah,
he stopped going. I wonder if they told him to stop going. Then he went to the workout room to rehab, and the only person that would go to check on him is Kittle. And he's like,
I give Purdy blame for sure. I blame Purdy
Brock,
for a lot of this.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're the quarterback. You're the leader of the team. Why is Kittle? And not just Brock, Kyle. How is George Kittle the emotional leader of the 49ers? He has been for the whole time.
Here's my other here's another thing too with to follow that same line of thinking. Mike Evans, who did he say got him to come to the Niners? It wasn't the quarterback. It wasn't the coach. It was the tight end.
Kittle.
Dude. And I get it.
Kittle's team.
I get it. Brock is above blame for anything. Brock is perfect. He's the prodigal son. Brother, he does nothing to push this team forward. Not on the field.
He does more to push Toyota forward.
Yes, agreed. He wears more Toyota gear than Niner gear. He does nothing to push this team forward on or off the field.
Like Brock, you love Jawan Jennings, right? That's your guy. That's been your go-to guy for years. Do you care if he's here or not? Do you have an opinion?
Yeah, like look at Joe Burrow when Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are going through negotiations. They need to pay them the entire time. Every question, they need to get those deals done. They need to get those deals done.
Like you don't have the only wide receiver that's your age on the team is Ricky Pearsall. Do you have any type of relationship with him? They just got you two guys who like Mike Evans and Christian Kirk who are going to be on the team for like 1 year. Do you care? Do you care about building meaningful, lasting relationships on and off the field with wide receivers who are going to make your job better, easier for the future? Or are you just going to be quiet and let George do everything?
And that's my thing. We always have that criticism with quarterbacks, right? That was one of Kyler's biggest criticisms. He's too quiet in the locker room.
Yep.
He was too quiet.
He's not a leader.
But Brock Purdy, like the only thing we've ever heard about Brock Purdy is he yells at people and he's like super intense. But the second they talk about Mac Jones is way more fun. He makes us feel loose and fun. Like it seems like Brock Purdy, everyone is trying to like make him a leader when he's not a leader at all. He seems like a terrible leader on and off the field again. And it's like, dude, it's one of those things where if you are a quarterback, your wide receiver one needs to be your guy. There is not
wasn't at his wedding, wasn't at his. I mean, they didn't even invite each other to each other's. It's like, come on, dude, what are you doing?
Like, bro, Jalen Hurts it's one of their kids is named after AJ Brown or vice versa. Like, yeah, sure, they may be not getting along now.
The Niners quarterback, this wouldn't have happened with Brandon Aiyuk.
If Jalen Hurts, if Dak Prescott, if Joe Burrow, if tons of quarterbacks.
And why does Aiyuk want to go to Washington? Because of Jaden Daniels.
Yes.
Because dude, if Jaden Daniels were the Niners quarterback and this were happening with Brandon Aiyuk, Jaden Daniels would have been in that weight room every day.
Yes.
Brandon,
that's the crazy thing is George said,
every day.
I was the only one going to check on him. Even George said it himself. Brock, why are you not there?
How are you not there? Kyle, how are you not there? Like, and again, this is Kyle. Kyle's whole thing is like, dude, if you don't kiss my ass, I'm going to replace you. I don't care how good you are because I can get Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
Who will?
Exactly.
I'm not going to walk over to you. So if we have an issue, we're going to have this like Cold War, cold shoulder, silent treatment for years. And he won't do anything about it. Whereas like that's your job as a head coach is to handle that and to have that conversation. That's why Mike Tomlin is revered from everyone that ever played for him because that's what he would do. If he had an issue like he had with Brandon Aiyuk, like the Niners had with Brandon Aiyuk, he would work that out. He would have handled it. He's like, he would have made Brandon Aiyuk feel so special. He did that with legit nutcases. Nutcases like Antonio Brown. Brandon Aiyuk isn't a nutcase.
Bro, he just wants his ass kissed just a little bit. Like, watch, I guarantee you if he goes to the Commanders, JDM's like, bro, we got like a stud. We got one of the best receivers in the league. He's going to come back and be great. Brock has never been like that with Brandon. It's like one of those things where it's like, dude, when negotiations happen, when he gets hurt, like when he's struggling, it's one of the, like, look at JJ McCarthy. Justin Jefferson was struggling this year. They asked JJ McCarthy about it. Like, what about his drops? They asked KOC about it. What about his drops? They're like, dude, he's still one of the best receivers in the league. We're not worried about it. He'll find his own. When you ask Kyle and Brock, it's like, yeah, it's something he's working on. It's like, dude, that's your time to be like, I don't care. He can drop it 10 more times next game, and we're still going to throw it to him 10 more times. But what does Kyle do? He drops his, he doesn't have Brock throw it to him as much. Brock doesn't throw it to him as much. It's like, dude, you guys have never had the dude's back. Like, the only time Kyle seemingly has had his back is barging into the office saying, sign him. And then afterwards, like, all right, there you go, Brandon.
Yeah,
I did
Kyle
my job.
Like Aiyuk, or did Kyle need Aiyuk?
Yeah.
And then he got hurt and he thought, well, I don't need you anymore because you're not going to be the same.
Yeah. And that's like,
I don't think anyone liked Aiyuk on this team.
I'll tell you this. I think if Mac Jones was the starting quarterback of this team, the Brandon shit would not have gone down the way it went down.
True.
I think he would have been like, oh, Aiyuk, BA's my guy. They need to pay him. He's my dude. Like,
that's exactly how Mac is.
Yeah. He'd have been like, we need him on this team. And then they would have, same thing. They would ask him questions about he's struggling. Oh, I mean, I don't care. I'm going to still feed him. And then when he got hurt, I guarantee you Mac would be in the weight room. Like, how you doing? What do you need?
Yeah, Brock just comes across as like the ultimate company man. Like, he was the last pick in the draft. He played by the rules. He followed all their directions. He got paid. He's not going to go against the organization at all. Sometimes you got to have your teammates back.
You have to
the organization and use your power. Like, George Kittle does that strategically from time to time. He's like, look, I love being on the Niners, but this substation thing is weird. I love being on the Niners, but it was kind of weird how Aiyuk was the only one, was alone completely. And I was there talking to him. Like, I got to tell you the truth about this.
Yeah.
Brock's over here selling Toyotas.
Yeah.
Dude, the Toyotathon jacket.
It's got to go. Yeah.
Dude,
it actually is my biggest pet peeve.
At the Super Bowl, I'm like, dude, do you wear this every day? Do they pay you to wear this, or do you like it? I don't understand.
Yeah. It's one of those things, man, where it's like, we need a quarterback that can be a leader because Kyle's not going to be it. Kyle's not going to be that player's coach. He's not going to be the Tomlin. And you need that. That's why I thought Saleh was so good. That's why
that's the difference between McVay and Kyle, dude. McVay,
but that's why I like Raheem.
Emotional intelligence, IQ.
And I think that, like, that's why they're bringing in Saleh and then immediately brought in Raheem Morris, since they didn't know about Jim Schwartz, was they need a player's coach on the team. They can't do this thing where they go with a Sorensen and the team's just like this the whole year. Just, we're just going to go and we're going to play our football. Like, they need someone to give them some juice. And I think another reason they brought back Dre is they need it. They need those leaders because Kyle ain't it and Brock ain't it.
Yeah, and Saleh's gone. Brock ain't it. Warner's back. Greenlaw's back. Morris has some juice. We'll see who they draft. That's a really good point. They become kind of a flatline team. What else stood out to you about what Kittle said on this 4-hour podcast that I'm sure you listened at 0.5 speed just to really drink it in?
Yeah, dude, I haven't even finished it. But the other thing that was interesting was, I mean, George is 100% never allowed on a podcast again. He definitely got a call from the publicist and they were like, no way. Because he also told everyone, oh, yeah, I got cleared to play with a couple torn ligaments on my ankle, and then I was nursing that ankle, so that's probably what popped my Achilles, was that I got cleared to play. I saw someone also, they responded to Jose, shout out Jose, and they said, oh, yeah, well, George probably fought to play. And Jose's like, that's their job as team doctors, is to protect him from doing that.
Yep.
That was very, very interesting.
But to me, though, like I agree they need to fire the training staff. But the fact that they haven't fired the training staff says so much. Like, you have the results, the team is always injured, the players don't like the training staff, and you're like, we don't care.
Raheem Mostert's take when he went to the Dolphins and every Niners fan was going after him. has just aged better and better and better as the years have gone by. When he said, like, they rush you back from injury, the coaches rush you back, the training staff rushes you back, they clear you when you shouldn't be, and everyone's like, no, they don't. He's just mad we didn't give him a contract. Well, is George a liar or was Raheem right?
And again, that's the culture. Like, not only do they rush you back, but you're supposed to want to rush back.
Yeah.
Right? Like Fred Warner. He was going to set a world record with how quickly he was going to come back from a broken leg. And George Kittle's going to try to do the same thing.
That's my thing is, was Fred rushing back? Because at first it was like, oh, he could maybe be back for a divisional. And then we got to the divisional and Fred's like, well, maybe the NFC Championship game. Would he have actually been back?
Or was he just playing the game he has to play on the 49ers? Yeah. I'm going to come back way faster than the doctors say I should. I'll definitely be that.
And like, that's what I think, like, okay, like George's like, oh, it's not that bad of an Achilles tear. It was a lower Achilles tear. So I'll be back week 1. It's like, bro, you are 32 years old and you are one of the most physical players on our football team.
And your body fell apart in like 3 places last year.
Yeah. As he admitted, he had torn ligaments in his other ankle.
You didn't make it to halftime of week 1. You had a torn hamstring in the second quarter, came back, tore ankle ligaments, kept playing, tore your Achilles. It might be over, man. I've been doing a bunch of hand wringing about Mike Evans the last week, being like, I don't know,
dude.
Man. He pulled his hamstring the last couple of years. He had a clavicle injury. Dude, George Kittle's whole body fell apart last year. The whole thing.
Yeah, like I don't. And that's my biggest issue, like with their signings, is it's a bunch of just injured people. It's like, and people are like, well, if they're healthy, bro, what makes you think we will be? George just said on the podcast, oh yeah, man, like I've been playing with torn ligaments, oh whatever, torn hamstring, torn ligaments, and then I tore my Achilles, but I'll be back week 1. I'll be good to go. I'll be ready.
How many games do you think George Kittle plays this year? Okay, how about do like this? Let's put it at over under 8.5, more or less. Over under.
I'm gonna say less, man. I think his body's
8.5. I agree. Okay, let's do another one.
His body's probably cooked.
Dre Greenlaw, 8.5, more or less.
Oh, less.
Okay.
Mike,
okay. Yeah. Ricky Pearsall, 8.5, more or less.
Less.
All right, Mike Evans.
I would say he'll probably be around there. I'll probably say a little bit more.
Okay, we'll give him more. Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, less. He's cooked.
Trent.
Less.
Christian
Kirk. Oh, Bosa. That's a tough one because he's either one or the other. He either doesn't play at all or he plays all season.
That's true.
I'll go more because he just got hurt.
Let's more. But yeah, you could play that game all day with this team. And given the fact that they have a bad training staff and we know why they're bad because they rush these players back. And the question is it their fault? Probably not. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure from the coaching staff and forget the players. There's a lot of pressure from the coaching staff. But again, if you really cared about getting the injury issue right, the Yorks would say we're hiring a new training staff.
Yes.
And the coaches can't tell you what to do with these players because we're so concerned about our investment here. These people, these human beings, they won't do it.
And that's my thing is like, one, I feel like if you wanted to take this injury bug seriously, first thing you do is we're moving the practice field. Don't care. The players have an issue with it. We're just going to move it while we investigate it. And if the investigation comes back, whatever, it's just bogus. Sure. Second is yes. What blackmail does this training staff have on this organization? I'm actually so confused because any team would fire them by now.
Put it this way. If they're like chef got a B-, I bet you they fire the chef and bring in a new chef just to show the players that they take food seriously. If their weight room got a C-, I bet you they'd renovate the weight room. The fact that they're getting the feedback and doing nothing about it, I think tells you so much. Why do they have these injury issues? Because they don't care. That's why.
Okay,
because they don't care. You bring in players with injury issues. You bring in old dudes. You don't have a good training staff. You don't have a good training room. Another thing Kittle said on this, he's like, I have this like zero gravity treadmill that I paid for at home. And they're like, oh, I've seen that. It's kind of clunky and hard to use. And they're like, and he's like, no. The new edition is great. I have it at home. The Niners have the old one and it sucks. It's like, right. So that's why their training room got a freaking C-. It probably has a bunch of old, outdated equipment. And if you really want to like recover correctly, you have to be rich as hell like George and buy the stuff yourself. And if you're Jacob Cowing, chances are you're going to keep pulling your hamstring every 5 minutes because then I'm just like, you're cleared. And he's like, all right, I trust you. I'm going to run. Like, hey, I heard it again. You told me I was cleared. And they're like, well, Jerry Rice didn't do that. So what does that say about you, Jacob?
Yeah.
It's about you. I guess you're not Jerry Rice. Are you?
And who's Dustin Perry married to? Who is he related to?
He's married to someone that's related to Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur's cousin, sister.
I was assuming it was like Kyle's sister or something. Because like,
no,
dude,
it's Matt LaFleur, and LaFleur is part of the tree. Dustin Perry, Matt LaFleur. What is?
Well, because he's been on our strength and conditioning staff since 2012.
Matt LaFleur says Dustin Perry, the Niners head and strength and conditioning coach, is his wife's first cousin.
Oh, okay.
Wife's first cousin.
Okay, so he doesn't have that great of a relationship. So why is he still here? He's been here since 2012. We've had horrible injury issues.
Not 2012. He's been here since, I don't think he's been here since 2012. I think it's 2017.
Well, he was our assistant strength and conditioning coach 2012 to 2016.
No way. Are you serious?
Yep. I just looked it up. And he was a player for the 49ers as well.
What?
Yeah. He was a part of the 49ers roster in the early 2000s. He was a special teamer.
No. You're tripping, dude. You're tripping. Hold on. He was from 2012 to 2016. He was an assistant strength and conditioning coach at the University of Minnesota.
Oh, okay. I thought it said on the 49ers that he was.
No, so this was not a Harbaugh guy. This is a John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan. They brought him in 2017. This is this regime.
I'm actually
That's
curious.
important to get. That's important.
I'm curious what University of Minnesota's training staff.
Like, how did he get on the Niners' radar? He was the assistant strength and conditioning coach at the University of Minnesota for 5 years, and now he's running the 49ers, doing a horrible job. No idea how he got on their radar other than the fact that he knew a guy.
Yeah, I'm trying. I can't find it. I would be really interested, like, in seeing the University of Minnesota's injury history come 2012 to 2016.
Be worth noting. Joseph Ernberg has been a member for a month. Thank you, Joseph. Baby Radiant says, this team loves to create drama. I don't know about y'all, but I don't believe in the offense. We got way older now. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Joseph says, I feel like the way they treated BA is almost the same as the rookies now. James and Watkins not getting any play because they aren't in the click yet. I can see why you would think that. Then he says, BP has no backbone. He's a disgusting person. Damn,
I wouldn't say he's a disgusting person. I just would say he's a bad leader.
Good vibes only says a successful Niner offseason would have been to trade for an impactful player like they did for CMC in 2022. They suck signing and drafting players. Yeah, that's why I think their best move was trading for the defensive
They got Mike
tackle.
Evans, bro.
Slant Route Pod says, why did Mike Evans choose Brock P over Baker M?
He didn't. He chose George Kittle over Baker Mayfield, guys. He literally said it himself that George Kittle was the selling point.
I think the selling point is that Kittle's hurt and that Jennings is out and Aiyuk is out. And what he wants is another 1,000-yard season. That's what he cares. He already has a ring. He's trying to bolster his Hall of Fame resume because he's not. I mean, no one's really a first ballot Hall of Famer anymore. If Belichick isn't. So
and we got that third place schedule, so he could stat pad on some bums.
He wants to stat pad. That's what he wants to do. And Kyle sold him on, I'm gonna give you the freaking ball so much because I can't give it to Christian that much anymore. And George isn't coming back anytime soon. And I tried giving it to Ricky, and that didn't work out. So yeah, you're the number one guy. If he had stayed in Tampa, Chris Godwin would get more targets than him. Egbuka would get more targets than him. Jalen McMillan might. I mean, he'd be like third.
Whoever they draft this year in the first round might, you know.
Niner talks. Nick talks Niners says, shout out to the boys. Shout out to Nick. We got to do a stream soon, Nick. Man. I got to pick your brain on the draft and all things Niners. CNM2993 says blaming Purdy for the BA situation is crazy to me. I don't think we blamed him.
No, we said he is a part of the problem.
Like, it was partially his responsibility to try to do something because it's his team. And that's
correct.
What Kittle was doing. Like when he was like, I went to he didn't have to go early in the morning to go see Brandon Aiyuk. He did that because he takes ownership and it's his freaking team. Yep. Although, you know what I mean? Like, The point is, how come we don't get that from the people who are the actual leaders of the team, the quarterback and the head coach?
Yes. Like, dude, he's making $53 million a year. Yes, I expect you to go check in on your number one receiver.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Slant Route Pod says, you hate the Cabo click, but isn't Mac Jones part of it now?
Mac Jones is a part of every click on the team, bro.
That's true. Thank you. God, that's why I like you, Tyler.
He's part
true.
Of the bench.
Is he not?
He's part of the bench boys with Pearsall, Cowing, Garendo. He's part of the Cabo click. Bro, that's why I like Mac. He is what your quarterback should be.
Yep.
Touching all clicks.
He's what your dancing at the front of the. He's with the boombox dancers.
Yes,
he's in Cabo. And that's exactly what Steve. I grew up on Steve Young. Steve Young was working the locker room like that as well. I'm sure Joe Montana was as well. Like Brock's over here being like, "Hey man, if you want to find me, I'll be in Arizona."
Tom Brady was the same thing, bro. He hung out with Antonio Brown and Julian Edelman, two polar opposite personalities, and they both were coming to his house, hanging out.
Isn't that such a great one-to-one comparison? I mean, Antonio Brown was losing his mind, in real time, and Tom was like, "Nah. He's got a couple brain cells left. I can work with him. Let me put him under my arm. He won't go crazy for a couple years. We'll win a Super Bowl, and then he'll go crazy." And it happened. This is the power that a real great quarterback has. Steve Young could do stuff like this. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Brock. Everyone thinks you have these superpowers, man. Use them, and don't just use them for Toyota because you're selling so many trucks.
Like, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like you show leadership to Toyota, show some leadership to the Niners.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You should have been wearing Brandon Aiyuk jerseys, not Toyota jerseys. Slant Route Pod says, "Hey BA, please rehab with our C- training staff."
Literally, and he was rehabbing there. That's the craziest part.
All day, every day. Kim says, "F the Niners, get your money, Trent."
I don't.
Red Jet Shell says, "Smash that like, don't be shy. Smash that like button." All right, let's talk positive, man. We've been negative for 40 minutes, and I don't know where that came from because usually me and Tyler just talk about how much we love the 49ers. What are the best things, plural, the Niners have done this offseason in your mind? Because they've done so many great ones.
Recognize that next year is most likely a rebuild. I think that's very smart. I think they are positioning themselves to have a lot of cap space, some good draft picks, and be ready to rebuild or retool, if the rebuild word gives you the ick. With potentially a new GM next year. I think that's super smart. You're pretty much giving a clean slate in case you want to move on from John Lynch next year. I think that's really, really good.
They definitely have put themselves in a position where they can build on this or do a hard reset next year. That's true. I would also say that I like that they traded for Osa Odighizuwa. I think that's the best.
Yeah, I think Osa is the best player move for sure.
I mean, they gave up a 3rd-round pick for him. He's not that expensive. He should be better than Javon Hargrave, I think.
We'll see. We thought,
but
Javon
they needed
Hargrave
to address. They tried so hard to address the defensive tackle position last year. They brought in Alfred Collins, C.J. West, Michael Williams, Keon White, and none of them really rushed the quarterback particularly well. They had to do something. So at least they did this.
Yeah, no, I think Osa is definitely the best player move. I mean, again, I gave the Evans thing like a C. I think Evans wasn't a bad pickup. I think he was fine. Like, he can mentor Ricky Pearsall. I was hoping you'd get someone in the draft, but with Christian Kirk, that's probably not happening. So maybe he's going to mentor Watkins, Cowing, Pearsall, give them some wisdom. Maybe he'll help out Brock a little bit. Mentor him in some fashion. I think having that experience is good, especially for cheap. I still don't think it's a great move, but it's not bad, I guess.
Bringing back Dre Greenlaw, I liked. I mean, there's things to worry about it. They gave him $6 million guaranteed. Neither of us expect him to play 9 games. I mean, if you might get half a season from him, but still, it's not like you lost someone and you replaced him with Dre Greenlaw. You still have D Winters. You still have Nick Martin, if there's anything there, and you adding Dre Greenlaw at a price, and it's not my money. It's not a lot of cap space. Only problem is, if he gets hurt, you're still gonna need a linebacker, because I don't particularly think D Winters is that good. Although they did bring back Garrett Wallow, I gotta admit, I'm a Garrett Wallow fan.
Thank God. I was worried about him for a second.
Yeah.
But I am glad they
And
re-signed
they
him.
they always have Kendricks on speed dial.
That was one of my favorite moves, was re-signing Wallow. But signing Dre was really, really good. I like that one because, yeah, like you said, it's just adding. You brought Fred's best friend back, so you're doing right by Fred. Fred seemed stoked. They were at each other's house. Or he was at Fred's house the day he signed. And so they seem super stoked to be back. He never should have left in the first place anyways. And yeah, I mean, again, I feel like the draft, we have so many other holes we have to address. Bringing back Dre, and if you like, Richard Sherman said the second year after an Achilles tear is kind of when you start feeling like yourself again. So he said he expects Dre to be like more back to normal this year. So, you know, maybe he ends up balling. And if he does,
think the Niners are vindicated for not giving Juwan Jennings what he wanted. That guy was asking for like $20 million a year last year. And the Niners are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that was another great thing. Yeah, that was another great thing they did. They did not sign him, which was good.
Now, it was interesting. I was against them re-signing him because I was like, man, this guy's going to get $20 million a year. And then it's clear that he won't. And I think it's funny how the Niners quickly signed Mike Evans and then pretty quickly signed, I almost said Charlie, Christian Kirk. They didn't even wait to see what happened to Juwan Jennings. It's like, hey, man, good luck. He's still out there.
I think just his attitude, man. I think his bridge was burned in the off season.
You're probably right. I think it wasn't as public as it was. I think maybe he was watching what happened to Brandon Aiyuk, being like, I'm not doing that.
That screaming match with Kyle on the sideline was like the nail in the coffin.
Because again, to stay here long term, you got to do two things. You got to drink Bud Light, and you got to kiss Kyle's ass. And I don't think Juwan was really much of a Bud Light guy.
It is funny, though, because I am curious because Mike Evans wants the ball. Juwan had a blowout with Kyle because he wanted the ball. Debo's had a blowout with Kyle because he's wanted the ball. And BA has had a blowout with Kyle because he's wanted the ball. I'm very curious if Mike Evans and Kyle get into a blowout because he wants the ball. Who are the fans going to side with on that one? Because that would be 4 blowouts with your best receiver on the team at that point.
Yeah, well, hold on, though. Like, Kyle will have these little power struggles with certain players, but when other players want the ball, he gives it to them.
Really? I feel like George has been wanting the ball his entire career and has never been.
What about Christian?
Well, Christian's they grew up together. They're best buds.
Well, Christian's getting towards the end of his line. What if Mike Evans is the new apple of Kyle Shanahan's eye?
Oh, yeah, the 33-year-old off hamstring injuries. Yes. That would be such a good.
I bet you Kyle's been looking at Mike Evans his whole career being like, man, I'd like him to be on my team.
Dude, I'm sure.
Remember what I did with Julio Jones? I could do that with Mike.
He's the ultimate team guy. Like, that's the thing is, I feel like Evans is perfect for Kyle's offense because Evans doesn't mind playing the game. He did it with Brady. He can kiss ass. Hey, give me the ball and you give me what I want. I'll kiss your ass. I don't care. You get me the football. You get me my 1,000 yards and we're good. I'll be happy.
Yeah, but he's charming. He can play the game.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know how Kyle, like, oh man, he's just not we're going to scheme other guys or force feed Christian in this game. I could see Mike Evans
gives Kyle a look. Kyle's going to be like, where do you want the ball and how often?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd be super interested if Evan's like, yo, I am not on pace for 1,000. I need my 1,000.
Yeah. What are we doing here? Call one more pass for Jacob Cowing and see what happens. And call another pass for Jacob Tonjes and see what happens.
And that's what I think. Do you think
playing with you?
Do you think George is actually going to be starting week 1?
Dude, absolutely not.
Okay. Me neither.
Dude, I don't understand. We're watching Dre Greenlaw struggle to come back from a torn Achilles. It's taken him 2 years. He's played like 9 games in 2 years. And we're thinking like, can George be back week 1? Why would he be back? He's older than Greenlaw. He's just as big.
He's just as beaten down.
I just wouldn't expect him to do anything significant this year at all. He might have a good half of a game Why would we expect anything more? Because he's Superman, because he's incredible, because we love him, because he's
George Kittle.
Because he's
George
George
he drinks
Kittle.
a lot of Bud Light.
Yeah, man, because he got Trent Williams to come out with Morgan Wallen before a concert at Levi's. Who else could do that?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, this team is looking rough. Like, their week 1 roster. Christian Kirk's probably not going to be out there. Ricky is a 50-50. Mike Evans will probably be there week 1 at least.
We're trying to be positive, though. So what else did they do great this offseason?
Ooh, that's rough. I don't really. They hired Raheem Morris.
They hired Raheem Morris. They hired Raheem Morris. Yeah, they could have hired Gus Bradley.
Yeah, yes, they could have hired another,
Yep,
guy that was already knew the system. They hired Raheem Morris. I think Raheem Morris was good. Obviously,
dude, they extended Jake Tonjes, bro. You're not as big on Tonjes as I am, but
I think Tonjes is bad. I think Tonjes is very bad.
Okay, well, you're wrong.
And he just got hurt, so he's coming off an injury too. So that'll be great having 2 tight ends off injury.
What happened to him?
Didn't he snap his leg too? I thought it was an Achilles the way he went off the field. Yeah, you didn't see that? He got hurt.
No.
Playoff game against Seattle.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That sucks. I didn't know that at all.
That's why I was saying I just let him walk because,
who do you think is going to have more catches week 1, Mike Evans or Jake Tonjes?
I would hope to God it's Mike Evans.
Yeah, me too. I would think so. Probably Mike Evans.
Yeah. Who else are you going to throw to? Ricky, who knows if he's. I will say, though, if Ricky can stay healthy, that's a massive if. If he could stay healthy with Mike Evans and Christian Kirk out there and Christian McCaffrey, he really is primed to have a massive year.
They need him to be the number 1 receiver.
Yes. He was primed last year to have one. And if you do trust him, because again, my issue with him isn't his talent. He's great when he's playing. He's really, really good. But can he stay on? Because if he can, now he has Mike Evans, who's going to get a lot of attention. Christian Kirk will even get a lot of attention the 4 games he's playing. Christian McCaffrey will get a lot of attention. But you need to be able to be on the field. I feel like this is make or break for him. Because, I don't assume they're going to draft the receiver early this year. I'm not getting that vibe.
I don't think so either. This got to be Ricky's year. And I think he showed early on last year that he can do it.
Yeah.
He just injured his PCL. He probably won't do that again. He'd be an interesting player to draft in fantasy football. I drafted him last year and didn't work out. But
are you going to do it again this year?
I might do it again this year.
Because he really is. Like you said, last year when he had to be the guy, he was balling. He was torching Seattle's defense in week 1.
Was he not better than JSN week 1?
I think Ricky really did look like one of the best receivers in the league when he was healthy. He's really good.
His only problem is he only did it for 3 weeks. But
yes,
he needs to. Yeah,
when he's healthy, it's okay, you're not really missing Brandon. It's not like you don't have this Brandon Aiyuk sized hole. But that was what Brandon brought. That was so nice. Is he was always there. He was always playing.
So also, he blocked, and Ricky can't do that. All day, every day. Kim says Mac be rocking that Craig Sager suits like a real one.
Dude, I love Mac suits.
All right, let's talk about the worst things the Niners have done this offseason.
Sign Christian Kirk. Yeah, that is probably one of the worst things I've ever seen. That was horrible.
I would just feel like at wide receiver, it's great that you signed Kirk and Evans, but those to me seem like 1-year Band-Aids. What is the plan at wide receiver? You have a franchise quarterback, supposedly, and you're messing around year to year at that position. You brought in 2 guys who will be here for 1 year. I don't know. I think you'd be trying harder to find guys who are going to be here with Brock long term. Yeah, it's not like when Joe Montana was the quarterback, they constantly had new wide receivers every year at the end of their career, or with Steve. I mean, it's an important position when you have an important quarterback.
Yeah, I hate the signing. He's always hurt. You already have Mike Evans, who's an injury issue. You already have Christian Kirk, or you already have Ricky Pearsall, who's an injury issue. You already have Christian McCaffrey, who's an injury issue. You already have George Kittle, Jake Tonjes that are getting injured.
Brock, if you see Brock as your franchise guy, you need him to have a receiver he can rely on to be there week in and week out. He can't keep
years. Brady had Wes Welker for years, Rob Gronkowski for years.
Yeah.
It seems like Purdy's entering an era where he's going to have someone new every year. It's Aiyuk, or then it's Jennings, and it's Evans, and then who's going to be next year? It's not going to.
Yeah, and that's why I was mad about the Kirk signing, because knowing the Niners, they are content with this receiver room. They may draft someone in like the 4th round, whatever, 5th round, but like say someone like Denzel Boston falls or Casey Concepcion falls to 27. They are now not going to look at them, which in my opinion is a crime. Like, especially like I give Purdy a lot of flack, but he has not really been set up to succeed from a roster standpoint since 2023.
Yeah.
He has a constant carousel of receivers. He never knows who he can like warm up with in the offseason.
The offensive line is mid. The receivers are mid. I'm sorry. The offensive line, it was mid last year. You let Spencer Burford go to the Raiders, who isn't great, but he's 25, and you replace him with Brett Toth, who is not a starting guard. He played a little – he's like a replacement for Matt Hennessy as the backup center. That's who Brett Toth is.
Yeah.
And right now – so who's the starting left guard? Connor Colby? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And that's what I will say. Is for as much flack as I give him, man, it is crazy that his fans are up in arms about this offensive setup. Could you imagine if the Bengals did this to Burrow or the Bills did this to Allen? Name any quarterback. They'd be like, why did you pay him then? They're doing what the Chargers are doing with Herbert.
Yep.
Except Purdy isn't 6'5" and can throw 80 yards flat-footed. And even Herbert's struggling because he doesn't have anything to work with. All Brock has to work with is Kyle's scheme, which is great, but not when you're throwing to Demarcus Robinson into Seattle's defense.
Yeah.
And Connor
Colby, he's going to have to throw the ball up to Mike Evans. They have no chemistry. They've never played together. If Mike Evans pulls his hamstring in training camp, there goes September. I mean, this is going to have to happen fast, and they're going to both have to stay healthy. Otherwise, this could easily go off the rails.
I mean, dude, just think about how easy it is for it to go off the rails. Ricky gets hurt again. Mike gets hurt again. It's not like it would be surprising.
No.
And then he's stuck there with Christian Kirk, Jordan Watkins, Jacob Count. Like someone was like tweeting at me, oh, we had to sign Mike Evans, Christian Kirk. What do you want, Jordan Watkins to be trotted out there? I'm like, he's going to be. The chances of all three of those guys staying healthy all season is like the chance the Niners have winning the Super Bowl. It's slim to none.
Isn't it interesting, too, that the Niners would rather sign guys who are old and coming off injury-plagued seasons than play players they drafted?
Yes. It's insane.
And I hate that they use the injury excuse. It's like, well, you can't really knock us. We didn't win the Super Bowl, but we went really far, and a lot of our guys got hurt. It's like, well, that's how you build your team every year. You have these guys who are prone to getting injured, and you don't want to play young guys. So guess what? I don't know.
And it's one of those things where it's like, dude, like, this is crazy. Jimmy was the only one that it seems like the Niners were willing to build around. Like, they got him Debo, they got him BA, they got him Kittle, they got him a solid line. And then they, got Christian McCaffrey, who was supposed to be there for Jimmy Trey Lance, but, Brock came in. So it's like, and then since Brock got here, it's like, all right, let's get rid of Debo, get rid of BA, re-sign George, Jake Tonjes. We'll get you 40-year-old Mike Evans. It's like, he's not. And in my opinion, that's the worst thing they've done this offseason is they're still refusing to build around Brock, which again, to me signals they regret that contract as well, because there is no way you are treating your franchise quarterback that you see being here for the next decade this poorly.
Well, I think some people would say that one of the worst things they did this offseason was not trade Mac Jones. I would say it's the best thing they did this offseason. And I think a lot of people expected him to trade Mac Jones. Like, LOL, they don't need him. They love Brock. They believe in Brock. It's like, well, they might love Brock, but Brock missed a lot of games last year, and no one knows if he could play full seasons anymore with his playing style. So it seems to me that
I don't think they believe in Brock. Like, I don't.
If they believed in Brock, Mac wouldn't be here anymore. They'd trade him for a third round pick. Who cares?
You can find serviceable backups anywhere. Like everyone's like, well, it's always good to have a good backup. It's better to have a second rounder to protect your franchise quarterback.
Yep.
It's better to have a second rounder to get him a weapon.
Unless he's not really a franchise quarterback and you're worried about him being on the field or throwing hella picks.
Yeah. And so it seems like they expect him to either A, get hurt, or B, they expect to move on from him.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it seems like they expect to move on from him. They keep Mac as a backup, extend him, let him
People
be
saying nobody called for Mac. Is it true that Mac had no market, or is it that people didn't want to give up that much for Mac and the Niners were like, damn, let's say that we're off. Well, let's just tell people that we're asking for a 1.
Yeah, bro. The Cardinals signed Gardner Minshew. There was a market for Mac. The Jets signed Geno Smith. There was a market for Mac. Like, that's not true. There is 100% a market for Mac. That's completely insane to think otherwise.
So they haven't really helped Brock Purdy much long. They haven't helped Brock Purdy long term. The offensive line got worse. They have no left guard. They have big time questions at wide receiver for the future. They haven't replaced Bryce Huff. They absolutely need another edge rusher. And they're probably going to draft him in round 1. And they'll probably
haven't fixed safety either. Safety is I saw people saying the Hobbs signing was to replace Upton Stout and have Upton Stout move to safety. And I was like, you want a 5'8", 165-pound player at safety?
You haven't resolved anything with Trent Williams.
Yep. So you might be going in there with an even worse line than already worse than last year's, which was, wow, bad.
You haven't cut Aiyuk yet.
No, they're being petty for a 7th rounder because that's going to matter.
They're bringing negativity and drama onto themselves.
They haven't fired the training staff.
They haven't fired the training staff.
They haven't moved the practice field. Yeah. They haven't talked about the practice field. They're just shoving it off. Like,
and in the same breath, they're saying Dre Greenlaw's back and he's going to play well and stay healthy.
Yeah. And George Kittle's going to be back week 1. And Mike Evans is going to be healthy and stay in shape.
Oh, yeah.
It's sure. Like, I don't know. Like, again, I've said this. Whoever is making these decisions, not the practice facility positions, because we know who's doing that, but the player drafting and signing positions, because some people say Kyle, some people say John, some people are saying the Yorks. Whoever needs to stop. It is awful.
But let's come back to our thesis or our theory about the hard reset.
Yeah.
It's possible that none of these guys are going to be here next year, and they know it, or they know that that's a possibility. And so they're saying, instead of us building for the future anywhere, let's just get a bunch of 1-year temporary Band-Aids and see where we stand next year. Mm-hmm. If we get extensions, then and we get the green light from the organization, by all means, we'll try. But right now, we kind of need to stay employed.
Yeah, it seems like in my opinion, they are positioning themselves to have a full reset with Kyle Shanahan, period. And that's it. Like, it seems like Kyle didn't sign an extension. He wants to see how this year goes.
Like, theoretically, they could do a hard reset with Kyle and Mac.
Correct. And I think that, in my opinion, is where
is Kyle more invested in Brock or Mac is my question. He didn't pick Brock. Greasy picked Brock.
Yep.
Kyle picked Mac. And then
I mean, in my opinion, think about it this way. If Brock gets hurt this year, I'm pretty sure he's toast. If he gets hurt again.
You can't do that again.
Like, you have to hit a hard reset after this year.
Yep. So the hard reset would be no John, no Lynch.
No John, no Lynch. Yep.
No Brock.
No Christian.
No Christian.
No George.
0 Christians.
Actually, no. I think George would come back on a cheap deal. They do where they take the out and then try and bring him. I think he's a Niner for life. So I think, but they would probably be like, bro, we're not paying you another $20 million.
It's interesting.
No Ricky, possibly. No Mike. No Kirk. No Dre. Maybe no Fred.
Dre.
If they're gonna reset, Fred might say, I
don't want any part of this.
Yeah. Nick, same thing.
Yeah.
It might be like that. What year was it? Was it
2015?
Yeah, where they had that exodus.
When everyone quit. Justin Smith retired. Patrick Willis retired. Yeah.
Yeah.
All day, every day. Kim says, Mac be right. Oh, we got you. Hold on. Joshua Wyatt says they painted themselves into a corner. You can't sign Evans, Greenlaw, Kirk, and the cast of the bucket list and then release your only quality offensive tackle.
That movie was actually so good. Tearjerker, but yeah. I agree.
It's true.
You can't and Trent knows that. He goes, guys, come on. I see what you're doing here. But actually, so here's the thing is you can and you can't because they've set the precedent. Well, we only really most likely want these guys for a year.
I think Trent's the tell. I think we're thinking along the same lines. If they could trade Trent and tell people we're rebuilding with our current group, hang tight. They could extend Trent and say, no, our current group is in a Super Bowl window and they're going to be here for the next few years. Hang tight.
Yeah.
But this keeping him for 1 year kind of against his will, it seems like the organization's like, we need to wait and see on all of you guys.
Yes. I'm telling you, if John Lynch doesn't crush this draft, he is gone next year. And I don't think
2025 wasn't crushing it.
2025 wasn't a good draft.
No. You don't get to take the Michael Williams equivalent this year. This guy has to be really good in round one, a Pro Bowler.
Yes, I agree. He has to be a better than Upton Stout was at his position. And Upton Stout was probably our best corner.
He needs to be a day one starter. He needs to be a good player.
He needs to be he needs
to be a guard or a defensive end or a safety. I'm afraid they're going to draft a corner and trade Bernardo Green. They're just going to create a need to fill a need.
I think they're going edge rusher with that.
You think so? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, my guess is they'll go Cassius Howell. My guess is they'll go edge rusher because they're not going to take a first round offensive lineman, not going receiver.
Yeah, I agree.
Niner Nick edge rushers.
Says the whole industry knows they need O-line. Why don't they invest in it? If they did get rid of Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, who would y'all be interested in?
I am not on. Me and Grant differ on the Kyle thing. I do not think you get rid of Kyle. I really don't. I think Kyle should stay for another era. There is not a coach out there I like more than Kyle right now, currently.
We'll see.
Lynch, you hire from the Rams, the Seahawks, or the Eagles. One of those three teams, you go to whoever their assistant GM is.
I feel like Shanahan and LaFleur have a lot in common.
How so?
They choke in big games. Kyle's made it a little bit farther than LaFleur. He has. Better he's better. I think he's better.
I think he's better than LaFleur.
But very similar teams that are kind of always in the mix and get a lot of praise from the local media, but really aren't going to win the Super Bowl.
Except LaFleur knows how to find a quarterback. Kyle has not figured that one out yet. He still has not figured that out yet.
But they both have major game management issues in the second half of games. They both engineered huge collapses.
They're both terrible when it comes to fourth quarter comebacks, which is why I said last year, if you were going to fire Kyle or let him go within the next 2 years, you should have let him go for Ben Johnson.
Or Mike McDonald, apparently. Mike McDonald is a generational coach, apparently.
Holy shit, he is icy.
Yeah. All right. Tyler, great stuff as always. The chat is blowing up. They're loving everything you're doing. They want to know where they can find more of you and how they can subscribe. So why don't you tell them?
Yeah, go ahead and hit my Twitter. It's right here at Tyler C. LaRocca. It's same on YouTube, same on TikTok.
Yeah. Reasonable, well-balanced takes from the both of us. Thanks for watching and have a great day. I might be back later streaming, so hang tight. I missed Larry yesterday. We're going to try to work that out. So
thank goodness.